The hyperbola is all about the x to the power of -1. So what we're looking at will be y equals x to the power of -1, which is the same as 1 over x. So when we start having a look at that in relation to our general formula, remember our general formula is something about a x minus h to the power of n plus k. When we have a look at it like that, we know that a is all about the dilation, and h and k are my x and y coordinates of a special point. Now we know that when we're talking about a cubic function, or when we're talking about a parabolic function or something like that, h and k is a special point, and that point is a turning point. When we're talking about hyperbolas, it's a little bit different. So let's have a look at the hyperbola itself. So here I've got out my gorgeous set of axes, and I'm going to draw the hyperbola function. And it looks like this. You have a line that sort of curves like that, and a line that curves like that. They're actually meant to look exactly the same, but I'm afraid right now they don't. And if you write a graph where things aren't quite right, you rub it out a little bit like that. That's why you make sure you do it in pencil. Anyway, this graph here is the graph of y equals 1 over x. And what happens is as this graph goes up, it actually gets closer and closer and closer to the y-axis, but it never touches it. Here it gets closer and closer to the x-axis, never touches it, and likewise here and here. And when something keeps approaching a certain value but never gets there, that's called an asymptote. So I'm going to write that down. And in this case, this graph here, which is 1 on x, I could also write that as y equals 1 over x minus 0 plus 0. And therefore now we have this h and k stuff, because remember, when I have something on the denominator, I could write that as 1 outside of x minus 0 to the power of -1 plus 0. So what happens here is I have this a value is now 1, so that's my dilation, remember. And my special point, which is 0 and 0, which I'll write here, or the origin, that's where my two asymptotes cross, which is here. Because these two lines approach the line of x equals 0 and approach the line of y equals 0, the point where they cross is my special point. And the -1 shape here, that tells you that it's a hyperbola. So that's what a hyperbola is. That's how it forms the general equation, and that's what it looks like, and the value of my point h and k is at 0, 0. Now, let's do some examples. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to my channel or like the video.